Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. The St. Louis Blues eliminated the Minnesota Wild in 5 games, I think. I've watched so much hockey, and it's actually
all a blur.
It's been a few days, so yeah. I think they eliminated them in 5. 2 words: Jake Allen. Unbelievable. I'm so surprised, and at the same time, I'm not, because I know he had it in him.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if he could do it, because we saw flashes of brilliance from Jake Allen during the season this year, and then it was just pathetic stretches from Jake Allen. But right now, Jake Allen is, I would say, the best goalie in the NHL playoffs at this moment.
He's dialed in.
It's amazing what St. Louis has done so far, and I'm excited to see what they can do in the future.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that series and how it ended?
Well, to be honest, I'm surprised it ended as quickly as it did. You know, I still had kind of question marks on St. Louis. A lot of it was on Jake Allen based on the regular season and how he faltered for a while, and they sent him down for conditioning, that sort of thing. It seemed like he completely lost his confidence at a certain junction of the regular season. And I remember saying earlier on that they would have success if he could play to the potential that we all know he can play. And Jake Allen, you know, in a couple of years, he could be classified perhaps as the best goalie in the NHL. He's that good if he can, you know, keep calm under pressure, that sort of thing. But I think, you know, him really coming back and showing us all that, hey, I can play at, you know, top level quality here. I think that's going to really help them moving forward, because it's going to build his confidence in a huge way. And the sad part, you know, you saw in the final game with Eric Staal, that was just kind of, you know, the exclamation point on the whole series of the Eric Staal injury, because I said in a previous video, he basically rejuvenated his career going to Minnesota. He had a phenomenal season. And, you know, to go down like that and be diagnosed with a concussion, because they did say he does have a concussion, is just kind of, you know, the exclamation mark on this entire series, because I really expected more out of Minnesota. I really did.
Yeah, and it's not like they didn't make moves at the deadline to increase their chances. They went out and got Hansel, they got Ryan White, and I don't know if they got anyone else, but at that point, they were all in. Yeah. And I think they gave up a lot for Hansel. I don't remember exactly what they gave, but Minnesota is such a strangely structured team compared to a lot of others. They don't really have like big superstars up front. They're very balanced as far as their lines and stuff. They're a deep team,
right?
But I will say Dubnyk let in some beer league goals, and in my opinion, it's why they lost the series.
It's kind of like Bobrovsky, you know, he's nominated for the Vezina, and both of them had a phenomenal regular season, but then come playoff time, it just kind of transition the opposite way.
Yeah.
On paper, Minnesota looks like an amazingly stacked team. On paper, they really do. And a lot of people were saying, well, it's because of the head coach that they have now. You know, what playoff success has he ever had? Bruce Boudreau. And I mean, how many early exits was he behind the bench of the Washington Capitals for?
It's so strange. Like he coached Washington for so many years. They had the President's Trophy so many years in the Eastern Conference, and
he has yet to really achieve deep playoff success, Bruce Boudreau.
It's very strange.
It's very strange. And a lot of people say, well, if you hire Bruce Boudreau, well, you're not going to go far in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's like a bad omen at this
I don't
point.
know. It doesn't make sense. And you could tell that he was really fired up, you know, once Minnesota was down. Maybe it was 2 games. Maybe it was 3. I'm not sure. But I just recall the interview, and he specifically said, well, you know, we didn't play bad. Well, okay, you lost the game, but okay, if you want to say that. And, you know, they were definitely robbed, I don't know how many times, by Jake Allen. See, this is another series I didn't watch entirely live.
Yeah,
you know, watch later, you know, PVR it, whatever, or watch highlights. And I don't know how many highlights I would instantly remember and think, oh, wow, that was a turning point because of that huge Jake Allen save.
Yeah.
Like, if they could have capitalized on that, momentum could have shifted and so on. But he clearly stole quite a few games in this series.
He played so well. It was so much fun to watch. And like you, I didn't watch a lot of the series. There's just so many other games on. I really only caught maybe the end of a few games. I never watched one from start to finish, unfortunately. But Jake Allen had a great series. Devin Dubnyk didn't.
Yeah.
There's Pietrangelo, I thought, played really well from what I saw. I thought Steen played really well. It's I mean, it's unfortunate for Minnesota because I like Minnesota.
Yeah, I do as well.
But
I really do.
I predicted them to beat St. Louis in 7. So I'm going to be disappointed there to get a prediction wrong. But predictions are just for fun, so
Yeah,
they don't really mean anything. But I do like St. Louis as well, so I'm happy to see them move on. And although they're playing Nashville, who I have a new love for, I really like Nashville now. I think I would pick in my heart St. Louis to win because I like Jake Allen's story and his comeback this season. So I would be cheering for St. Louis moving forward, I think. But
well, hey, St. Louis getting out of the first round kind of gets rid of that elephant in the room of, oh, how are they going to be after Shattenkirk left, right?
Yeah.
That was kind of a big thing, and they proved that they can win without Shattenkirk.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's a huge plus.
I mean, it's not like they don't have faults. They have things to work on. Their defensive game still needs work.
Everyone does.
If it wasn't for Jake Allen, maybe a different story. But like we didn't watch this series too much, so we don't have a lot to say in this series. But any final words on how you think Minnesota or St. Louis will do next year?
Well, I think Minnesota has everything in place. I really do.
Yeah,
I mean, I look at their team and think, wow, they got a very, very solid blue line run by Suter, who to me is kind of almost underrated. Like, you don't hear his name often enough, but I mean, the minutes that guy logs per game is just very, very impressive, and hard minutes too. I see them not doing a whole lot. I think it really falls back on goaltending, and if they can bounce back, and Dubnyk has proved that he can be that starting goalie. And sadly, maybe this was that kind of wake up call that players need sometimes.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because I've always said you have to lose before you learn how to win, and Minnesota could really bounce back next year because on paper their team looks really, really good. And St. Louis, they're that team that they kind of remind me of the Red Wings. It seems like they're in the playoffs every year. Like, obviously,
almost.
They haven't racked up 25 years, but it just seems like they're always there every year, and they just can't get deep in the playoffs. And I mean, the other year, they finally beat out Chicago, and that to me was their cup, because Chicago had their number, man, for so many years. It was awful. But yeah, I really like St. Louis. They got a solid lineup as well, and I see them potentially going right to the Western Conference Final.
Yeah, I do too, actually. It's very possible.
Very possible.
So that basically wraps it up for this series. Like we said, we didn't watch it in depth too much, so we don't have a lot of things to say.
They come on too late. The games are too late.
So that pretty much is everything we have for this series. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're a St. Louis fan, I hope you're happy. If this is your first video on Post to Post, I hope you hit the subscribe button. If you liked the video, hit the like button. And until the next video, adios.